By the end of this video, your player will flash red whenever he gets bonked into by the enemy, making it clear that he's taken some damage. Let's get started. To get started, we'll go to our prefabs folder and double click our player prefab to open him. If he doesn't appear, just make sure you're on the scene view. We'll be using the animator for this, so we can make sure we have the animator window up here. I already have it, but if you don't, you can go to Window, Animation, and then press Animator. And here, we don't want the flashing red animation to override any of our existing animations that we already have set up. So fortunately, Unity already has something in place for this. We can add an animation layer. You can press the plus button, and this creates a new layer, and I'll just call this damage layer. The name isn't too important as long as we have it. Next, we'll click this cogwheel icon on the damage layer, set the blending to additive, and then increase the weight to 1. We want this to play in harmony with the base layer. On the base layer, we'll also click the cogwheel icon and change the blending from override to additive. Then, on the damage layer, we'll right-click and say create state empty, and just make an empty state, which I'll name idle. Then, I'll right-click and make a new state, and we'll call this one flash red. We can use a trigger parameter to transition from idle to flash red, because that's essentially how it will work. We'll just trigger it on, and then it'll play once and then go back to idle. So I'll make a new trigger under parameters, and also call this flash red. Then I'll right click on idle, say make transition, and click on flash red. I'll click this little arrow, and over here we don't want to use an exit time. I will change the transition duration to 0, and I just like making the exit time 1 anyway, although I am going to disable it. Then under this list of conditions, I'm going to press the plus button, and we only have one condition, so it's going to automatically set it to flash red. Then I'm going to click the flash red animation state, right click, make transition, and go back to idle. On this arrow, I'm going to click it, and this one is going to use an exit time. We'll change the transition duration to 0 and the exit time to 1. It's complaining about not having an animation in either state, and that is correct because we haven't created one yet. So let's do that next. We'll go to the animations tab. I'll go into my player anims folder. I'll right click, go to create, and make a new animation. And we'll also call this animation flash red. Within this flash red animation state, I'll just drag this on top of here. And now I'll click on my player in the hierarchy. If I go back to the scene tab so I can see them, we can now create this animation. Under the list of animations, I'll click flash red. I want this to be pretty quick, so I'll assume that we're going to have this exactly 0.15 seconds in length. I'll click the record button, open up my player sprite renderer, click on the color, and just reset this to white. So we have our start and end points at white. And I'll go about halfway through to the 7-second mark, or 0.07 rather, and I'll change this color to a dark red. Now if I play it, there we go, it flashes red very quickly. Next, in our player health script, we'll get a reference to the animator, which I already have set here as animator, but just go ahead and add it if you don't have it already. And then what I'll also do is I'll make a private const string variable, and we'll call this flash red anim, and we'll set it equal to the name of our animation, which is flash red. Let's make sure we spell it exactly the same, and we can always just double check. Yes, and this is what I want to make sure it equals right here, the trigger name that we set up. Back in player health, I'll scroll down to where our player is taking damage, and I'll just say here, animator.setTrigger, and then I can put the name of this constant string we put in, which is flash red anim, and then close that off. We can hit save, and now give it a go. We'll want to make sure the animator is properly hooked up to the player health script, but other than that, we can hit play. Our enemy walks towards us, he boops us, and we flash red, making it much more clear that we have just taken some damage. By the end of the next video, we will have created several varieties of fruit pickups, which, when collected, will restore some of our players' health. To make this efficient, we'll be using prefab variants and animator override controllers. I'll see you there.